This is Business Dive Extra, looking beyond the dollars and cents to the movers and shakers in business. I'm Mark Croskery, and today we'll be hearing all about the sweet side of business success. We'll be getting the scoop on how to build and sustain a market-topping business. Our guest today has been involved in the family business for nearly 2 decades. A graduate of the University of Michigan with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. He went on to gain an MBA with specialties in both finance and marketing from the University of Miami. In January 2004, he returned to Jamaica to work with his mother in the family ice cream business. A few years later, inspired by his mother, the qualified mechanical engineer decided to offer the public high-quality ice cream. Affordable, yet rich in taste and ingredients, Caribbean Creams Limited Ice Cream offered Kremi to the market. So let's meet our guest, Chairman of Caribbean Cream Limited, Kremi, Christopher Clarke. Chris, welcome to BLE, Business Dive Extra. It's great to see you.
Good to be here.
Yeah. You know, Chris, you're an engineer by trade.
Correct.
How did you get into just the ice cream business? Was it family? Were you actually passionate about it, or how did you get into the ice cream trade?
It was a family thing.
Mm-hmm.
After I got my MBA, I bounced around America and Canada for a little bit, then came on to Jamaica. I was asked to help out with the business on a temporary thing, and end up staying.
Okay. And between that, you know, so you went to Michigan, University of Michigan. Were you a big Wolverine fan? Were you big into sports
I was
and
big
everything?
into the football team there. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a fun time. Tom Brady and me went to school at the same time.
Okay. And you're now #1 in ice cream in Jamaica.
Correct.
As you know, Tom's won all these Super Bowls. Yeah. So when you were at Michigan, did you like watch football? Did you watch Tom play? Did you watch any hockey?
We watched not so much hockey. Watched a lot of football, basketball also.
Mm-hmm.
Went to a couple games here and there.
Yeah, and you know, seeing how Kremi has progressed, you know, listed on the junior market, 2013 or so, where it is today, #1 in the market, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, would you say, you know, you have a very kind of undertone competitive spirit? You know, you're really a competitive guy, deep down under.
I compete for sure. When I get into something, I play to win most times.
You like the W.
I like the W. And it's not like this is a like a sports thing where like if one wins, somebody loses. But I'm competitive in my take on big business for sure.
And was, you know, the engineering side, the mechanical engineering, was it something that was in the family, or how did that come about? Was it something that, you know, your mom said, Chris, we're in this business, we don't have any engineers, we need some technical expertise. You're the son, you need to go and study this?
No, strangely enough, both me and my brother were performers in the at school and stuff. He ended up being a doctor. I ended up being an engineer, and it was never really the intention of any of us to join the business, but just ended up that's how it went.
So both of you you're doing very well academically.
Yes.
Yeah. And but did anything, you know, swing that way to get you in? Were you great at robotics or math class?
I was good in physics, chemistry, which actually helps a lot with the business of ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
You know, freezing things, understand the equipment side of things.
Okay. You took technical drawing, TD, in CXC?
Yes, I did.
I'm assuming you got a 1. You excelled in it?
Don't remember the grade, did well. Know where I was supposed to go.
Okay. And how early did you join the family business? I mean, how early were you working, you know, with your mom? And was Kremi around in those days?
Well, Kremi wasn't around in those days. I started Kremi. Back in the day, before college or anything, one thing where you work there during the summers and stuff like that. But I didn't start doing full-time as my regular business until I moved back to Jamaica.
Yeah. And going back to your earlier points, did you actually get to see Tom Brady on campus? Like, did you ever have a class with Tom Brady?
No, I never had a class with Tom Brady. I just saw him play, that's all.
Okay. And, was he popular back then, or was he just like your
No,
average guy,
no,
walking around?
it was a big surprise that he became as successful as he became.
Really? So
Yeah.
he was like this outsider that went on to be
He
successful.
was like he was the quarterback for the team. He wasn't like, he was a good quarterback, but he wasn't even the guy that they suspected they wanted to be the quarterback for the team. So it was like, yeah.
And those summer jobs, Chris, before you got Kremi up and running,
Hmm.
was it easy going with your mom? Was she she's obviously the matriarch of the family, but was she tough on you in the early years? Any
Mm,
challenging times, or was it
no,
all positive
I can't
takeaways?
say she was tough on me. It was just like kind of learning
And,
the business
yeah.
early on. Yeah.
And is that where you picked up some of the passion of maybe mixing and formulas and just how to run the business?
Can't say that's true. I got passionate of business when I joined the business
Okay.
and got into it. And once I got a taste of doing business in Jamaica and a taste of the business side, that's when my passion grew.
Grow. And when did you actually start Kremi?
Cream started in 2006. It was an offshoot of a project for Scoops.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we developed, we started to develop our own mix, it's a technical term in ice cream. That's the base for all the ice creams. And then from there, we were able to expand into other kinds of ice creams. And we came up with the idea for Kremi after that.
Okay, so it was really in those times or years, it was really you're creating like bases or mixes.
Yeah,
Not the
yeah.
end game wasn't necessarily to necessarily go into ice cream.
No, it was more to it was more to try to decrease the cost
Okay.
of the company, and in doing that, we're able to diversify what we did.
And in hindsight, it turned out to be brilliant because a lot of family businesses struggle, with
Hmm.
who's the boss and everything. But in a way, are you grateful, or in a way, do you and your mom kind of joke about it, where you both had kind of your own fiefdoms, or not
I don't know,
necessarily?
we joke. We still kind of have our own fiefdoms. I think that's
Yeah.
important in our family business to have like boundaries established,
Hmm.
so everybody kind of knows what's going on and what their roles are.
So once you got Creamy going, in simplistic terms, so you're producing what you call the base. Was it just like the powder?
Now it was there's a liquid base that then now you add the flavors to it, and that creates the
So it's,
ice cream.
so it's not like the milk powder.
No, no.
Okay.
So we created the liquid base, which all ice cream flavors are based off of. So you have this white base, then you add the rum to make rum and raisin. You add pistachio, make pistachio, that type of thing. So we used to buy our base from a different supplier.
Hmm.
We decided to make our own. Once we developed the ability to make our own, then enable us to offshoot into other things.
Yeah. And at what point did you get this kind of eureka moment, or where did that euphoria hit you, where you said, okay, I can take this from a milk base. Yes, we're cutting costs, more efficiencies. I know you're great at that. But where did that kind of light bulb come into Chris Clarke, and you said,
Well,
let me make this into a huge going concern?
well, when we were developing the ability to make bases, we had to go through the process of learning how to do it. Once I learned the how to do it, I realized we could do a couple of things, and then so there are a couple of things to change it up to make it more affordable. And Devon House Ice Cream, which is a company my mom runs, is a premium ice cream, well regarded, have a high brand recognition throughout, but it's more on the
Do
expensive
you
side.
do you still view it as the best in the market now, or you think Creamy is really
Well, it depends on which
edging up?
side. It's like Devon House is for bang for your buck, they're kind of the same,
Hmm.
right? So you want to spend a little bit more, get the higher quality, Devon House is a good choice. If you want to spend a little less, Creamy is a good choice. Um, Creamy is a more versatile brand. It it can go any place, anybody can sell it. Um, Depends on where you go, it's more recognized So it's more what they would call a fighting brand, the brand that gets out there in all the nooks and
Yeah.
corners.
Corners. And has the business is now located at South Road. Was the business always there from '06, Chris?
No, it started off on what is the name now? Charlie, was it? Courtney Walsh.
Courtney Walsh Drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
They started off there. We were sharing a facility with Catherine's Peak.
Catherine's Peak. Okay.
Yeah. And then.
And in those days, I mean, you had a lot of machinery, or was it just more? Was it just dealing with distribution, or what was the
No,
business
we had
like?
machinery from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we put the mix plant or the base plant. So we started there. When we installed all the machinery,
Mm-hmm.
when we started making the base for Kremi, we had a very small freezer there to test the market and try it out. And then from there, it just grew.
Yeah.
Grew very aggressively in the beginning.
And when you completed your bachelor's degree, you went on, before you did your MBA, you went to General Motors.
Correct.
And what did you do at GM? It's a Fortune 500 company, massive business.
I mean, I was a low-level engineer at GM. It's when we got right out of school, working on brakes for Cadillacs and stuff like that.
Although you're a low level, did you find those years or that time period helped you just analyze, because you're running a public company now?
I mean, I learned a lot there. A lot of the systems they had. I incorporate a version of that into Kremi, stuff like that, like work orders and stuff like that.
Like the process flows, the policies.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything like that, yeah. And would you say, Chris, persons say you're known for that. You're very much a stickler for policies, procedures, process flows. I mean, you're an engineer. But is that primarily coming from just on the job at Kremi, or is that coming from the Michigan side? Is that coming from the GM side? Is there any part in your life that has made you kind of into this stickler?
I'm passionate about manufacturing. Through my time at both GM and at Kremi, I've studied it a lot. And lean manufacturing requires process flows and measuring everything you do and having better metrics and stuff like that. So that's where I've learned it from studying and learning as we go.
We're going to come back to that and see if you're still bullish on Six Sigma and all of those fancy jargons.
Sure.
We take our first break on Business I Have Extra. More when we return. Welcome back to Business I Have Extra. Caribbean Cream Limited has been operational for the past 15 years. During that time, it has developed a standout ice cream, Kremi, manufacturing over 20 flavors. Their products include bulk and tub ice cream cakes, and frozen novelties such as icicles. After 7 years in business, Caribbean Cream Limited was listed on the JSE Junior Market Exchange in 2013, the first ice cream company to do so. The company's business model is unique in that it retails its products through local mobile vendors. In addition, entrepreneurs can operate a scoop shop, either from their house or an existing business facility. Let's hear more about this company's evolution. Our guest is, of course, the chairman of Caribbean Cream Limited, Kremi, Chris Clarke. Chris, welcome back to Business I Have Extra.
Thanks.
The company's growth has been phenomenal. When you went public, I recall like 2013 or so, sales were 350 million. Now you're talking about sales 2020, 1.6, 1.7 billion, something like that. Lots of the traditional reasons, just gaining market share, so forth. But as chairman now, previously CEO of the business, you've led all this growth. Where is this incredible growth come from? Just staggering numbers.
Well, the growth is twofold. First, the ice cream is good. Pound for pound, I put it up against any ice cream in the world. So that drives the demand. So people want it, and the brand is getting stronger every day, and that drives like entrepreneurs out there to go and buy the ice cream and scoop it and resell it and make some money on their own.
Right.
So that drives the demand side. From the supply side of it, we've been able to keep up with the demand by aggressively investing in our equipment and expanding the factory space.
So with your retained earnings over the years, I mean, unlike what a lot of businesses do, even whether it's family business, public companies, a lot of them take the money out of the business. But that's one thing that you do see over the years continuously in your management discussion analysis is you have pumped a lot of money back into the business.
Yeah, we continually invest. Yeah.
And primarily, where would you say is that going into capacity building? Is it, as you mentioned, like equipment, or has there been a strategy over the years where you're really pumping the funds back into?
Well, what you do is, from a manufacturing side to speed things up, you find where the bottleneck is, right? And you concentrate on that aspect, and then you try to get better at whatever that is, and then you prove it to the point where the bottleneck moves to some place else. So then you go and improve it there.
So this is a production line.
Yeah, the
raw
production
materials
line.
Straight through.
Exactly. So you're constantly trying to find out where the bottleneck is and improve that. That's where you get the most bang for your buck from the investment side.
I've seen a lot of you've pumped some money or a lot of money into your cold storage as well, or if you call it warehousing or so. Are you happy with that now? Are you happy with how much cold storage you have, or?
We're not currently happy with the amount of cold storage we have.
You want more?
We want more. We're trying to figure out ways to get more now. It's one of the things, because the IPO money went to building out the cold storage. We did that, and then eventually it filled up, and then so we need more cold storage again.
Do you have more land space available at your current location, or are you having to buy kind of like adjoining pieces of land?
We've actually recently bought the land next to the factory. We're currently trying to figure out the best ways to manage it. Is
that 5 South Road or 1 South Road, or is it just?
Yeah, we are at 3 South Road, and we bought 1 South Road.
Great. Okay. So is it a long-term vision, or is there some vision where that's yours a board where you're gonna try and just keep buying up that street like a monopoly board?
Well, we'll see what happens. As opportunities come, we'll look at what happens there.
Yeah. And what are the top flavors, if you can say, or what's the product that's in the most demand?
The top 5 is Coke and cream, grape nut, rum and raisin.
We know that for sure. Rum and raisin is popular.
Yeah, hot fudge and cherry chip. That's the top 5.
Top 5. And is it the tubs? Is it the the gallon boxes? What's moving the most in your revenue concentration now?
The 3-gallon boxes. That's what carries the majority of our sales.
Yeah. And behind the scenes, Chris, you mentioned earlier, we always call it the fudgy man, and looking at like your prospectus, you had mentioned that in 2013, but it really is there kind of whether you have informal meetings or meetings in communities or through your depots, is there tons of entrepreneurs, mini entrepreneurs, micro entrepreneurs that you have created through Kremi?
Absolutely, that's what we've invested in, really. That's where our customer base is. Our customer base isn't so much the people that eat the ice cream. We sell to the people that sell to the people that eat the ice cream. So we've, somebody opens up a small shop in there, community cream is there. Fudge guy wants to come in and buy and peel around and sell ice cream, we will support him.
Yeah, and you always said a famous story, like even in, somebody might be living in a housing scheme community, they might just even buy a couple of gallons from you and just start selling right in there as well.
Yeah.
And does that still happen today?
For sure. Yeah. Jamaica is the way it is. That's one of the reasons why Kremi has been very strong during the pandemic. Kremi ice cream is where you live. basically.
And do you have to train these persons at all, or you just let them do their own thing? I mean, it's quite simple. They buy, they sell at a higher price. I mean, is there any just training behind the scenes, or?
We do a little bit of training, mostly how to scoop. A lot of the older heads are like, their ability to scoop ice cream is pretty amazing and impressive.
Yeah. And is there any delivery system or logistics system set up for them now, or they just come to head office, they go to your depots, which
Just
you've been growing?
to the depots. In recent times, we've been expanding the amount of depots we have, so people around the island have more options on where to go.
How many depots are you up to now?
We currently have 5.
And are you happy with that? Are your customers clamoring for more depots? And whether you're doing it by regions or parishes, or what's happening there?
Well, we're just kind of going where we feel the need, where there's a gap. So right now, I think we're okay with 5, but if a gap opens up, we will put in more.
Does Caribbean Cream run and operate them, or is it more like a franchise model?
We run 5 of the depots. We sell to a lot of independent depots across the island, much more than 5.
So you have a lot more, but 5 are what you're running.
5 is what we run, correct.
Okay. Any science behind it, without giving away a secret sauce, but you need to just have those 5 as a strong base to make sure your product gets out there?
We just put in areas that we think needed a bit more support.
Yeah. Where's your last one, Chris?
Orchard is the one that we opened most recently, right there on Main Street.
And you mentioned just sales are still good. Profits are good. Your stock price looks like it just hit a new 52-week high or near it or so, like $6 and change, or $6.34. What's happening there? Is it just a comfort food play? Persons are home more, they're eating more ice cream, or what's the online story in your boardroom, or how are you analyzing it?
Well, the reason why we haven't been affected so far by COVID, one is luck. Let me answer. So part of it is luck.
You think as an engineer you believe in luck?
Yeah, well, as a businessman I believe in luck for sure. So where the delivery model that everybody had to turn to in the pandemic, as far as like dropping off ice cream, dropping off their products, delivery, home deliveries and stuff like that, we've been doing that from the get. So we were already in a space where everybody was trying to get to.
So you are doing deliveries. You will go to your customers.
No, but that's how it's always been. When a fudge man goes on the road and drives into the community and beeps his horn, he's going into the community. So he always went to. Kremi's always been near to where you already kind of lived.
And that. Is that the only or sole reason, or there's other other intricacies or other things you're observing or trends?
I mean, I would say that's the majority reason. There has been a comfort food increase, but a lot of people who do comfort food weren't able to take advantage of the increase, while we have been able to.
Yeah, and Kremi. You said earlier it could really stack up to anyone globally. Do you feel, let's say without bias, hard to do that really? You put Kremi beside Ben & Jerry's now, Häagen-Dazs, you're getting up there?
I'm talking about like per dollar value, right? Per dollar, yes, I put Kremi up against anybody.
Against anybody, yeah. And competitive wise, your sales have grown so much. I mean, it'd be hard for anyone to say that competitors maybe even exist anymore. But do you think competition exists in the market now for Kremi?
Absolutely. Crazy Jim is still out there, very strong, a good brand.
Are they still out there though? Are they on the shelf space as much?
They're on the shelf space for sure.
5-10 years ago? They're
still strong. They're still strong in the market. There's Crazy Jim. A new entrant is Bond from Domrep.
What's the name of the company? Bond.
Yeah.
Okay.
B-O-N, right? And you always have to watch out for the next guy, right?
As you grow, yeah.
Yeah. So you're not only competing against whoever's in there now, but you're trying to compete against somebody that might come in the future, right? That's why you have continually, no matter where you are, you have continually made the company stronger and stronger and stronger.
We're going to come back to that. And we take another break on Business Dive Extra. More when we return. This is Business Dive Extra. We're talking to Chairman Christopher Clarke. Caribbean Cream was born out of a need to supply the local market with a high quality but less expensive ice cream. The company began production with 5 employees with an output capacity of 50 gallons of ice cream per hour. Today, near to 30,000 gallons of creamy ice cream is manufactured each week. Caribbean Cream employs well over 150 people directly and indirectly. Since its listing on the stock exchange, Kremi grew year on year before the COVID-19 pandemic hit Jamaica. Here to tell us more, Christopher Clarke, Chairman of Caribbean Cream Limited, Kremi. Chris, welcome back.
Right.
How you listed on the JSE? You get the tax break. There's many other benefits. How, in your eyes, your view, how has becoming a public company, benefited you, the family, the business, the shareholders, everybody?
I'm glad you asked that. I think when people talk about the junior stock exchange, a lot of emphasis is put on the tax break, right? And the tax break is a benefit, and it's a big one. But to me, it's not nearly the biggest thing about being on the stock exchange. To me, the biggest thing about being on a stock exchange is access to credit. Before I was on the junior stock exchange, you go to your bank and it's like you're asking them for a favor. After being on the stock exchange, people come to you, right? And people that's not your bank come to you. So if you look at how much we got about, I think around 65 million or so from the IPO. I don't remember the exact figure.
Net proceeds or so.
Yeah. Since then we've been able to access like over $300-something million in low interest loans. That's really what's fueled the growth.
So it's like you're in the game now and you're being chased for a change.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what you see really as a huge benefit.
That, and also being on the stock exchange also makes you a better customers in the eyes of overseas suppliers, right? They don't have to take your word for it that you're good for the money that they're going to lend, that they're going to give you in credit, right?
So whether it's their CFO or credit department just logs online, checks it.
Exactly.
You don't have to be. They don't have to be chasing you for an email and so forth.
Correct.
That's great. And is it just a fulfilling circle? Would you say, the governance, maybe attracting high quality people, all of that just kind of starts to flow and happen as well?
Yeah, the notoriety it helps. Like once you're on the stock exchange and you become more known, then more. You're right that better qualified applicants will come into your organization. It bolsters everything.
Everything, yeah. And when did this transition happen? Yeah, you were CEO or managing director, chairman. When did it happen? And was this inevitable or is this a new thought process by the company?
Yeah, it happened around March of 2020. It just felt like it was time for a change. And that we needed kind of fresh eyes at the top of the company. So we decided to do a little change. Me coming from CEO to chairman, and hiring Ryan Peralta as the GM.
Right. And do you still have input on, say, the manufacturing or the engineering side or the day-to-day operations, or are you more in a hands-off role now?
As I said, I used to be the player, and now I'm the coach.
Okay, I like that. So you're Bill Belichick now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, are you enjoying it? Has the transition been pretty seamless? It does seem like in hindsight, everything for the past 8 years has been very well structured, seamless. But how has it been going so far?
I think it's been going well. Well, we're still trying to iron out everything, but it's been going well.
Yeah. And are you looking at, in your role now, will you be able to focus more on strategy or say business development to continue to grow the company?
Yeah, so in my new role, I'm more like advancing, like looking for new avenues for growth and stuff like that versus the day-to-day.
Okay. And anything, as your name suggests, your Caribbean cream. I mean, anything in the Caribbean that's on the horizon that you'd like to look at doing, acquisitions, if it looks like your sales plateau every couple of years, just like any business, anything in are there ice cream shops, whether they're public or private in the Caribbean that you have your eyes on?
Not really. It's a long-term goal to expand outside of Jamaica. Definitely not. But in the short term, we're not looking at that. So in the long term, we've been looking at a lot of different ways in which we could accomplish that.
Do you feel, Chris, Access did a recent acquisition in Florida? Do you think maybe it might be easier for Kremi to look in the U.S. market versus the Caribbean market? Sometimes persons feel the Caribbean markets are tough, just difficult to get a deal done with the differences in our cultures.
As a manufacturing company, CARICOM's easier to get into. Just because.
Is that because of the tariffs or just something else?
There's a tariff that helps a lot. There's the added amount of hoops you have to jump through to get into the American market. Looking at different ways to do that, but from our current early analysis, CARICOM seemed like the easier way to go.
CARICOM's a better market. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any ice cream businesses now in Barbados or Trinidad, like as some of the bigger CARICOM markets?
Barbados for sure. There's Bico in Barbados. I'm not sure who the current major player in Trinidad is, but yeah.
And the icicles, see a lot of your billboards are around the island now, and the icicle products. How has that been going? Has that taken off? Is it doing well? Especially with, like, I say, schools, not being in season right now, or there's no, face-to-face.
The reception's been good. The icicles are first foray into something like outside of ice cream or some version of ice cream. Reception from the market's been good so far, so we're kind of happy.
And how are you distributing those now? Just down the same kind of
the same
kind of distribution channels.
The same channels. In addition to our current channels, we also go through supermarkets and stuff like that.
And what's it like? They just come in a box with a.
Come in a box. You open the box.
Just like a Kisco or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And do you plan, or does a board plan? Are you planning to look into other value-added things like that, which are non-ice cream, to keep this kind of robust sales growth that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at new products. We have a list of stuff that we want to try, and we see what boils up to the top. While our sales, COVID hasn't really affected our sales so much. It has severely affected our ability to create new products, because with the lack of travel, can't get experts in here into Jamaica, stuff like that.
Why do you need experts to, like, for R&D or?
Yeah, for R&D, you're trying something new forms, new stuff like that. Usually, you want to reach out to expertise, not only in Jamaica but outside of Jamaica, wherever you can get it.
And so those experts would come to Jamaica and just help you with, I don't know, like formulas,
product
formulas, development,
develop machines, stuff like that.
So you have a fully blown lab now at South Road.
We've had a lab for a long
works
time.
And everything. All those certifications and stuff. You do any exports now, Chris, on that point?
We currently do not do any exports, no.
No, Caribbean, no markets whatsoever. So everything, all your revenues are locally based.
Correct.
Is it the issues with, let's say, just the expense of cold storage and shipping or air freight, or just, global markets have their own creamies in the
No,
markets? Makes no sense.
no, we just been the growth in Jamaica alone has been so robust that we've been a lot of our time is being kept like just trying to keep up with that.
Okay. And when you're in these strategic meetings, if you can share, is there just, just like inflation and other things, is there just a rate that the market just grows at, or, do you increase your prices annually?
We look at our prices at least twice a year. We'll do a deep dive review into our
Prices.
prices. There's no set time frame that we're going to increase prices. Depends on cost of inputs, which are driven by FX among other things. But we don't say we're going to increase X amount of times per year. It depends on what's
Right.
going on in the market.
Right. And do you find out that Kremi is such a, attractive company? As you said, you have a great external auditor, the bankers are chasing you. Now with even some of the big companies, on the JSE looking, they're waking up, doing a lot of deals. Grace Kennedy, I think they said they bought something like 2 companies, whether it was a week or in a month. Are you starting to also kind of get hounded and say, Chris, Chow, why don't you just sell me this company? You're doing great EBITDA numbers, and go and retire?
I'm definitely not going to retire anytime soon. I mean, some potential deals have come and gone, so it's not like we're not open to that sort of thing. But nothing's really come up that has borne any like fruit.
Yeah. And do you feel as motivated, as excited to, get into whether it's a plant or the boardroom now as you did in 2006, 2013?
Absolutely. I love the plant. Working on the floor is like the best thing.
Yeah, you do love it? All right. We're going to come right back to that. And you, Chris. We take another break on Business Live Extra. More with Chairman Chris Clarke when we return. Welcome back to Business Live Extra. The vision of Caribbean Cream Limited is to be the #1 ice cream manufacturer in the Caribbean. In 2019, revenue grew to 1.5 billion Jamaican dollars, an increase of 13%, while net profit before tax was up 14% and stood at 103 million Jamaican dollars. Not forgetting their social responsibility, Kremi contributed $3 million in 2019 to the improvement of 27 early childhood institutions across the island. In early 2021, Caribbean Cream Limited announced intentions to budget $2 million or approximately 288 million Jamaican dollars in a combined heat and power or CHP plant, a move that hopes to improve business efficiencies, in particular reducing the energy footprint of the company. For a final time, it's Kremi's chairman, Christopher Clarke. Chris,
Yes.
I mean, it's great that you're doing, corporate social responsibility, philanthropy. How does it all work? Do you, the company is profitable, you're making good money, shareholders are excited. I mean, like, your stock price has already, jumped again, as we're talking. But do you operate a foundation? How does it flow? How does that all work?
We don't operate a foundation. We just pick one particular charity that we have a passion for, and then just give them some money.
And is it something that's coming, historically from, say, your mom, or is it coming, let's say from the board, or is it something that you have really, as the, getting the company going in 2006? I mean, where is it kind of coming from?
The passion for
the early childhood.
No, it's just something that I have a lot of interest in. I have very young children. The earlier you get the children and educate them, is the better the foundation as they grow. So I think, so as far as like the good, like how much good you're doing, a lot of bang for your buck in early childhood community.
And the number is huge, whopping number 27. Do you administer it from your head office, or do you have to bring in someone to help, or do you let the agency handle the administration of, let's say, the organization, the funding?
But there are a lot of research into the ECC, early childhood mission. So we trusted their ability to do what they said they're do. They gave us regular reports on what they're doing.
Okay.
So yeah, the partnership's been good.
Been good. And how many years, just roughly, has Kremi and the ECC kind of partnered in this
It's a couple
initiative?
of years now. I think about
Couple
2
years, yeah. And is Caribbean Cream looking to do more philanthropy, other areas, or you're sticking to the core right now of the early childhood?
I think we're going to stick to the core of early childhood. There's a lot to do there.
Yeah.
So as the company grows, we expect our philanthropy to grow.
Yeah. And of course, kids love ice cream. Are you doing some kind as well, where you're carrying some cones and some ice cream?
Yes, absolutely. We've done that a few times actually. We've gone to a number of schools and had ice cream days and just treat the children to ice creams.
Okay, and that goes a far way. Yeah, and that goes great. And the CHP plant, right? Coming back to your passion, engineering.
Yes.
Where is this going now? Is this a cost reduction initiative?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's strictly a cost reduction initiative. CHP combine heat and power. You put a power plant on your place. You generate power from that plant. So you get the power that the plant generates, but also as a extra, there's heat that's generated. Also, you capture that heat, use that energy to pasteurize the mix, for instance.
Yeah. And how are you financing that? Is that internal cash flows? Are you taking on some leverage to do it, or?
We're taking on some new loans to do it.
Okay. And you finding that you're being creative with some corporate bonds, or you going back to your bankers?
For right now, we're just doing our bankers.
Your bankers, okay.
We find that the interest rate in Jamaica is really good right now, so we're deciding to take advantage of it.
Yeah. You able to get J dollars, or do you have to sometimes go to the foreign currency market?
No, it's J dollars.
J dollars. No, excellent. Yeah. And is there any forecast or expectation you can share, Chris? Like, I mean, is this a whopping saver for the company, or is it minuscule?
I don't want to go into the details of it. We expect it to be a significant kind of contributor to the bottom line. You should, once it's in there, you should notice that it's there. The actual degree, I leave that up to the future.
You expect to get it done and operational this year, or you're looking at 2022?
We expect it to at least turn on and start operating this year. As to when the benefits start to roll in, that might be next year.
Yeah.
But we expect it to turn on this year.
And we've seen on Business Extra, a couple of companies jump onto this kind of concept. It might be different, but we've seen like a public announcement by Wisingo, LNG plant, New Fortress Energy supplying the LNG. Is this the same thing, or this whole combined CHP a different concept?
It's the same thing. It's the same type of plant. Wisingo's done it. Red Stripe's done it. A lot of people have done this type of plant. I don't know how much they get into utilizing the heat that comes off of the plant, but it's important to us. So we're definitely can benefit a lot from that.
And it's specifically like the phrase that you're saying, is it specifically because you need to do some heating, and then
heat.
Your ice cream is cold? Is that what's unique with you?
No, we need to sanitize, right? So you pasteurize the mix to make sure it's safe to eat. So you have to heat that up. You have to heat up the water to clean the equipment equipment down. So that's where you get the bang for your buck.
Yeah. Right. And Chris, if you're at your AGM, let's say annual general meeting, or you run into a shareholder on the road or something, and
Yes.
you might be perceived as a kind of quiet, laid back guy, but really and truly, to drive sales as much as you have in the last 8 years is phenomenal. And somebody said, in whether it's 5 years or however long, how are you going to take Kremi to 3 billion of sales, or double sales again? Because you've not only double sales, you've grown sales 500% in 8 years. Or
Yeah.
I mean, what's the vision there?
Well, the vision there is, I never want to get into these specific numbers, but like how we expand from here, we expand into new products. That's one. At some point, we have to expand into new markets. There's a lot of ways to do that. But that's a twofold strategy in how you expand sales.
And this is kind of this is kind of like the March 2020 makeup, your energy as chairman now. Is this kind of your mandate as a chairman?
My mandate of the chairman is to protect the investors and figure out growth strategies. Yes.
Yeah. And Chris, would you say, without being too judgmental, but one thing I've picked up on, there's a lot of accountability at Kremi compared to some other public companies. Whether it's at the executive level, just looking at the corporate actions on the JSE, or even at the board level, it seems like if performance is lacking, or it seems like there are changes that are made, compared to some other public companies that might take 3 to 5 years. You seem like you get things done relatively quickly at Kremi. Is that something you've just on your own? Is that from your MBA, maybe from University of Miami, or where is that culture coming from?
I mean, it starts from the top. You have to make sure you hold people accountable. That's very important, for sure. Yeah, that's just a culture that was always embedded within.
And you've set that tone.
Yes.
Yeah. And one of your big mantras, you keep saying it's on your website, it's everywhere. You want to be this #1 manufacturer in ice cream in the Caribbean.
Correct.
I mean, you mentioned Barbados, you mentioned Trinidad. I don't know if those companies are public, but are you the #1 in the Caribbean?
Depends on the metrics. The #1 in the Caribbean, we use that to define a lot of things. So when you want to be #1 in sales, #1 in profit.
What do you want to be?
We don't want to be #1 in everything. We don't want to be #1 in customer service. We want to be #1 in how reliable the equipment is.
Equipment. Who's #1 in profits now, and #1 in sales? Just to the best of your knowledge.
There used to be 3 publicly listed companies in the Caribbean. It was us, Bico in Barbados, and Flavored in Trinidad.
And they still exist? Are they still around?
Flavorite is around. They delisted a while back. So
have they kind of gone a bit soft, or?
I'm not sure what the internal thing is. Once they went off, it was hard to keep track of them.
Right.
But if you look at total sales of everybody that's currently available now, we're pretty high up there. Right?
Pretty high up there, okay.
Yeah. As far as like past performance, Flavorite in the past hit some big numbers, and that's what we're looking to hit.
And that would put you at, I don't know, 2 billion Jamaican, or is it 3 billion when you say big numbers?
I mean, 2 billion is not really a stretch target. So we want to go 2 billion and above, for sure.
3 billion?
I mean, I'm not putting any numbers in, but we need to. 2 billion is too easy of a target, for sure.
Okay. And Chris, you see yourself, next 5-10 years still being the chairman here, or maybe you diversify Kremi into other manufacturing plays? I mean, would you maybe want to see a manufacturing holding company one day?
Right. Well, we don't really go beyond the 5-year span. 5 years, I see myself being the chairman of Kremi and constantly improving.
Improving Kremi.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Brady moved to Tampa, so
Exactly.
you know, do you see yourself buying another manufacturing company on the stock exchange, getting bigger and better?
We're open to opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, because you love manufacturing, and you're one of the few guys out there got that skill set to not just maybe manage it, oversee it, but you actually understand manufacturing.
Correct.
That's great. Chris, thanks for joining us on Business Live Extra. It's been a pleasure having you.
Fun.
Thanks a lot. That's it for another edition of Business Live Extra BLE. Remember, a satisfied customer is the best business strategy of all. We've been talking with Chris Clarke, chairman of Caribbean Cream Limited, Kremi. Don't forget, you can watch us online at cvm.com/videos/Business Live Extra. Thanks for joining us.